Perfect. Hey, I got that. Did you find when you were teaching like 5 years ago when you first started this like bilingual education, did you find that it was hard to communicate with your like peer, with your equals, with your other fellow teachers? Did you find that gap to bridge since you were teaching in different languages harder?
Um, the teaching, there was a little bit, but more than the gap in teaching was communication because there was so much information that we needed to share, and there wasn't enough time where we were collaborating and trying to remember everything that we have to tell the other teacher. So now that it's one teacher, it's like I remember what the children need, what we have, what concept we have to review for Spanish and what concepts we have to review in English. And I know now when to do those bridge moments. So it makes it so much easier just to have more like a clear expectations of what we have to do and when we have to do it.
Okay, another question I have with you. Do you think you use like the model of translanguaging in your classroom for like your bilingual students, like teaching them things in like English for say, and then allowing them to expand it in Spanish, or like allowing them to almost use both languages in a powerful way?
Because I work right now with a TK classroom, I do allow the children to make connections in either language, whatever language they feel more comfortable. So children can communicate in any language they feel more comfortable. It's the teacher that, how can I put it down? My expectation for me is not to break the language, but for them, they can use any language that they can, because I don't want to limit any of the children. Saying if I'm in Spanish and they don't know how to answer a question, they are always allowed to tell me the answer in whatever language they feel comfortable. And then I either have my assistant or I have another student that can help, translate, or I will listen to it and then respond it in whatever language I'm teaching, and they just have to repeat it
And you,
because one of the things that we are, sorry.
no, go ahead, finish.
Oh, I was saying because one of the things that we were learning with Dr. Medina is that we just, if we limit the children to use only whatever language that we are working on at that specific moment, we are not letting them make the connection, and it's limiting them um, uh, to the needs and also the ways they can express better. It will be like saying, oh, if you don't know how to say it in this language, you cannot respond to whatever question.
Okay, perfect. I was gonna say, so you've been teaching right now TK, but you've taught fourth grade, you said in the past. How many years did you teach, or like how does
Fourth grade.
school with like getting assigned to grades and stuff like that?
I was teaching for a year and a half. I moved kind of in the middle of the year because the teacher for TK uh, left. And so um, in order to teach TK, there's a specific classes that you need to have. So you need to leave the 12 core classes for early childhood education. And so at that time, I was the only teacher that had those requirements.
Okay, and this isn't a dual immersion school, correct? I just want to make sure I'm getting this like background correct, that you're teaching.
Yes, it is a dual immersion program.
And it's a public school or a
Yes.
charter school or magnet.
It's a charter school, but is part of the San Bernardino County,
Okay.
so it is completely free. It's non-profit, non-profit.
Nonprofit. Okay, perfect. I went to one of those. I went to a nonprofit charter school as well, so I loved it. One of the best years.
Yeah.
Um, in your experience, how does bilingualism shape students' futures and opportunities? This can be your career-wise, college-wise. I know you're working with students at a really young age. How are you seeing them grow and blossom?
Well, it helps a lot, first of all, because they're gonna become biliterate in both languages, Spanish and English. So that opens a wider range of doors when they go to any career, basically. Also, it helps them with to be social cultural to their awareness of social cultural. So in case that they have to work, um, with other people, it's easier for them to communicate, to understand, and to work together with others.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah, I find that amazing. And I think that's why like I really want to emphasize my love for bilingual education. I'm also getting a minor in Spanish here at UC Berkeley. So I want to emphasize how much I think bilingual education is necessary now, especially nowadays with our cultural like awareness and social awareness.
Yes.
And I think that's amazing. Do you think that there was a shift in bilingual in the creation of these schools of these dual immersion schools, dual language immersion schools? Do you think there was a big shift in that? A big what did that create for the like the education community?
Well, it depends to what age or to what I don't know, time I'm comparing it to. Because I remember when I was going through my studies, credential program, and all of that. No, actually, it was before that. It was during my university years. Um, I was listening to a lot of like negative comments about bilingual education, but that was different from dual immersion because bilingual education was a program where we will be teaching the children in Spanish, but then decreasing the Spanish and then adding the English. So it was not teaching them equally and giving credit to both languages. And now with the dual immersion, because it's additive. So you add, you don't take any language away. So even the English, you never take the English. We stay at the 50-50 and then we continue with that.
Perfect. Do you think that was like I don't know a lot about your schooling, but when you were going through school, what was like the biggest shift you saw yourself in this use of negative connotation towards bilingual education? I know there's a lot of people like Richard Rodriguez, who is like a Mexican American who is outly against bilingual education because of the way he was treated in schools. I know a lot of people were against it, although it's a positive thing we see now. How is your perspective on that?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to have my elementary school years experience here in the United States. I was in Mexico, so I came here as a teenager. So I don't know exactly what a lot of people went through. I think part of it was I don't know. I'm gonna say I don't even know how to say it. That a lot of the people that are against dual immersion or bilingualism is because of the negative experience that they had in at that time when they were going through their school years. As I say, since I didn't live that experiences, I don't really understand um, everything that they went through, but I have an assumption that it was because of the negative pressures that they had in school. Like people were punished to speak another language. Some people, because of the lack of uh, process, I'm gonna say, or the negativity and the view of bilingual education, they were always thinking that people were not gonna get English as proficient as others. So I'm not really sure. It was, I think, a little bit a combination of everything. It was the environment, it was the teachers. Some of the teachers were not really prepared to teach in the bilingual education. They didn't understand the full concept of it. So yes, it was true that a lot of the students that were coming out of the bilingual education, they never, or some of them struggled to get the proficiency in English, but it was a combination of the program, the teachers, the support that they had at home. So it was really difficult to pinpoint and say it was due to just give me a second.
No, go ahead.
I'll call you in a little bit, okay? It was very difficult to just pinpoint at one reason why at that time bilingual education was not taught as uh, how can I say this?
Yeah,
Uh,
all
as
comes
a
with
profession, as a
proficiency.
positive um, education.
Yeah, it all comes with like the background of Proposition 227 in like the 80s, where like you weren't allowed to speak another language in schools in California. And that all created like a very distinct remark of other languages being seen as different, at least in my perspective. Over your time being a student who you came from, you came from Mexico, so you were speaking Spanish already and when you came here. How did you
Right.
see these new policies that were implemented affect your education and the education you give others now? Like anything new that you've seen throughout the years that's changed your mind on this or opened your eyes on this?
Yeah, well, one big thing that I experienced when I was in high school, as I say, I came from Mexico in my 10th year in high school. And one thing that I saw that before the perspective or the view from a lot of the teachers, it was this child does not speak English, so therefore does not have the tools to be going to a undergraduate education or to come to have an education other than a trader career. And so now we know that with the correct help and with the right program, even if you come later on, not precisely as a child, you can still get a lot of the tools. It might be a little bit harder. It might not be possible within a couple years, but it just takes, it's a process that takes time. And that's one of the things that as teachers, we stress a lot to the parents, and our school does pretty good job about it. When we have the incoming new students and parents, we have a orientation for the parents where we explain what are what they're going to be seeing in their children and what are the expectations. So we tell them you're not going to be seeing your child speaking English and Spanish in a year or two. It's going to take a process, and you're going to see different faces on your child. So your child might get behind or regress a little bit in the English if English is the second language. But later on, through about 5 years, you're going to see that both languages start getting equal. Some children go a little bit faster. Some other children develop that a little bit slower. It depends also with the other things. How is the environment? As I said, how much support they're getting from the parents or outside
Yeah, outside of school.
of school. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel supported by your district? Do you think that you're provided enough resources, enough things, especially for your students that are learning Spanish, that are learning English in this new program, in this new environment of learning this new day and age?
I think I'm getting more resources than other schools provide. I have heard from other bigger districts. My school is pretty small, but I have heard other big districts, they don't provide as much resources. And over here, they do provide resources. Sometimes they cannot send a lot of people to get workshops or conferences. Um, but it's also based on what the teachers want to do. Sometimes they do provide, like right now, they're providing some technology as professional development, but it is also on your own time. So a lot of the teachers are not willing to do that. I personally, because I don't feel as competent in my technology skills, I'm willing to stay half an hour or an hour later just to get a little bit of more support on that or knowledge. So it does pretty good. I think we can do better. Unfortunately, with everything that is going on right now, I see that instead of our budget in professional development, instead of increasing, is kind of like getting less and less. And sometimes, they have to take a priority. So do we spend the money in professional development, or do we spend money in something else? So that depends on what priorities the admin team sees.
Yeah, that's
They'll put that
it's
budget in
horrible to
there.
hear that this new administration has brought so much pain and suffering to our bilingual communities and our teaching communities, especially an educator and hopefully like a future educator, I feel a lot of hardship through that and I feel a lot of pain. But it's amazing that you're using I want to give you a lot of kudos for taking time out of your day. I feel like a lot of educators are really tired and really burnt out after long days of work. And professional development is time outside of work, sometimes unpaid time outside of work. And it's so much work and I give you so much kudos. Thank you for that. And thank like your students will thank you in the future. I've had so many teachers in my past that I have tremendously affected my life and I don't think I would be here without like my mom and of course like my teachers. Like I'm nowhere without them. And I think that bilingual education, though I didn't experience much of it, from what I see myself, I think we need a lot of change, but I'm happy to hear your perspective on it. And I'm so grateful for your time. Do
Thank you. Thank you.
have any questions for me? Anything you'd like to share?
Mm, not that I can think of right now. I will really like to hear it, how your studies goes and everything, because you are more deeply into, propositions and stuff like that. And for me, it's like I'm still kind of trying to understand because sometimes I get confused. It's like some people present it one way and some other people present it a different way. It's like, wait, I thought I understand it this way, but it sounds like it's
Yeah.
also, different. It's I know it is how they are trying to confuse us to go towards the wrong road.
Yeah.
And so it is really important for us and actually for everyone to understand exactly what those propositions are and do it clearly so we know exactly this is how it's going to harm or this is how it's going to benefit us.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure I have all your background because at the end of this, I of course am willing to share this paper with you that I'm writing. I'm also doing a thesis in a year and a half for my
Oh,
graduate for my studies. I'm really excited for that. I hope to focus on bilingual education in the realm of special education because I have dyslexia, so I was a special education child in high school, and unfortunately, most of us don't get out of high school or don't end the program and go on to a higher education. I had the chance to go to the number one public university. And so I want to do as much as I can with my resources I have here. And so I'm doing my thesis come next spring, hopefully. And I'm glad to share that with you. I'm glad to share this paper when I'm done with it and glad to have any details you want to give me about your school, about anything. But I just want to make sure I have your background right. You've been an educator. How long have you been in the education industry?
um, I had been in the education, for more than 18, 20 years, but a lot of the time, let me see, because I was usually in the early childhood, and then I just kind of continued my education moving into elementary school. So elementary school, I had been a teacher for 7 years. 3 years I was a sub, just working at different districts, different ages as well. And then I was, let me see, 8, 13, 14, 15, 16 years in early childhood.
Early
And
childhood.
it include from daycare, infant and toddlers, all the way to preschool, Head Start. So yeah.
I'm so grateful for the early Head Start program and how much it's brought to my mom and how much it's brought to you, of course. I hope it continues in the United States for years to come.
Yes. Right now, we are kind of in the limbo. What's going to happen with it?
It is horrible to hear, and I advocate so much for education and education um like recovery because I personally don't ever plan on pursuing a career in education as most think I am with my degree, but instead I'm focusing on public policy and focusing on hopefully going to graduate school and making new laws in order for students to learn more. And that's my goal with my degree and with this interview is to learn more from an educator itself, and especially coming from like San Bernardino County. I know it's a very low income area and like these
Yes, there
resources
is.
are needed. These are I come from the IE. I come from San Jacinto where it's a very low income area. I had the fortune to have amazing hardworking parents that were able to give me whatever I needed for my education, but most unfortunately don't. And we need more public programs to help our students and to benefit our students and benefit our educators and help them be able to create an amazing learning environment for them. And I'm just so passionate about it. I sometimes struggle to get my words out when I'm talking about things I'm so passionate about. I'm so
Yes.
excited to hear and see what's to come next in education. I'm a little scared, but I'm more excited because I know there's change to be made, and change will be made hopefully in the right side of history. But I'm so thankful for your time that you gave me. Is I'm gonna I don't think our emails connect to each other. I think it's because it's a school email, like your school email, and my emails always send, but I know when I used to work for because I used to work for a school in Oakland, when I used to use my work email, it would never send anything from my school email. So I is it okay if I reach out to via you through my mom and send maybe these questions I had? You of course don't have to answer them. They're all the ones I asked you, but if you have anything to add on to them or anything you'd like to say, you could always add on to them. Is that
One
okay?
thing that I wanted to mention, since you were saying that you come from special education, we just within the last 3 years, I'm gonna say we have seen a great increase in the needs of children. We had a lot of kids that are coming, like I work with TK, they are coming uh, with speech services. So every year as we go, it's then the numbers are increasing. Um, we also have been noticed an increase in ADHD students are coming. Uh, um, Emotional needs in the children. So this is gonna shape our education in a different way. And right now there's so much need in special education and mental services, and they we don't have the support for it.
Yeah, I
So
was
it's something that we need to really take into consideration because it doesn't seem that is getting any better. I think it's the numbers are increasing.
Yeah, I was working in a last semester, or yeah, last year I worked at a school in Oakland. Here it's a public school, public high school, and I was working with a newcomer student in a special education classroom, and he had no one to talk to. I was only one who spoke Spanish in that class. I was only going for 3 hours on Mondays, 3 hours on Fridays, and 3 hours on Wednesdays, and that's the only time that kid got social emotional connection from someone and got to learn because no one else spoke his language. And I remember I'd get on the phone with my mom and I'd cry after class because I'd be so upset that nobody was helping him. And we need this
Yeah.
advocacy work from someone, and it has to come from the next generation. And I think he was misplaced in special education. I think he just didn't know any language. And I advocate for him so much. And I think about him on a daily basis, but I get really emotional. And I think special education needs to be rewired as a whole. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely it does.
for
Yeah.
sure. No, thank you so much for your time. And I'll go ahead and send these questions. Again, I cannot thank you enough for having like the opportunity to talk to you and asking you these questions. I know sometimes they are a bit invasive, but thank you.
No problem at all.
Okay, thank you so much.
So you want me, are you gonna send up the questions to your mom or